Okay, guys, so we are ahead of the kids who are in school. And so we're going to slow down and go back over chapters 4 and 5 because those are really important concepts moving forward. And also, not everybody did awesome. So I have added into this week's folder some videos that were from the original chapter 4 that might help you. This is a practice packet that you're going to work on throughout the week. And then on Friday, there will be a quiz, which is going to be questions directly off of the packet. So if you complete the packet, you should be able to just copy your work into the quiz and be good to go. I'm going to do a couple from each page. And actually, I'll probably just do one off of each page, maybe two off of some. And so what I would do is just watch a part of the video and then do one of the worksheets, each day. You can kind of pace yourself. So the first two pages are graphing of the slope-intercept forms. So just to review that, keep in mind that slope-intercept form looks like this. This is your slope. It's the value in front of the x. It tells you if it's positive, how much rise, meaning how far up you're going to go. Or if it's negative, it tells you how far down you're going to go from one point to the other. And then over, the bottom number in the slope, is how far over you're going to go to the right. And then the second piece of information is this. This is my y-intercept, and y-intercept is exactly that. That is telling you where it will cross the y-axis. So basically, when I go to graph these, I start at this number on the y-axis, and then I move according to the slope. So say, for example, that I was doing this first problem over here. I would identify that my intercept is at 0, -5. I would go to the y-axis and count to 1, 2, 3, 4, -5. That's going to be my starting point. Then my slope is right over here, whatever's in front of the x. And this is a positive, so I know that it will be going up. And it will be going up 5 over 3 to the right from that initial point that I already plotted. So I go to my purple point, I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I turn and go over to the right, 1, 2, 3. And I can continue to count in that same manner. So from this point, I can count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2, 3. And then I get out a straight edge, do the best that I can to draw a straight line through those points, and I'm done. All right, I'm going to try one more. The second page is more of the same. Let's say I did number 10. Here, my start point, or my y-intercept is the official term, is going to be 0 and then 1. So on the y-axis again, that's why it's the y-intercept, I start at 0, 1. Then this is my slope. My slope is -5 over 2. So because it's negative, it's going to go down 5 and then over 2. So from this initial point on the y-axis, I count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then over 2 to the right. I don't really have room to count down 5 over 2. If I wanted to, I could go totally backwards and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back 2. It doesn't really matter as long as I like more points because it's hard for me to draw the lines through there. So I'm going to do the best I can to draw a straight line through those. And I'm finished. So if I were you, I'd stop the video now and just work on these first two pages and not try to do too much at one time. So that's going to be, oh, by the way, if it's a whole number like in number 5, here we go. -2 is going to be where my y-intercept is. So 0, -2 is going to be my first start point. And then my slope is a 2 because it's whatever's in front of the x. Keeping in mind that that means it's over 1. So since it's positive, I'll go up 2 and then over 1 from my start point. So up 2, over 1, up 2, over 1, up 2, over 1. So however many points you want to have to kind of be as straight as possible. And then you graph from there. So if it's a whole number like that too, just keep in mind that that means it's over 1 when you go to do your counting. Okay, so like I said, I would stop the video and I would just tackle those first two pages. then maybe tomorrow you could start the video up again and do another page. Okay, so this is kind of the same concept. It says to find the intercepts. Okay, so finding the intercepts, that is where I want to figure out where would it cross the X and where would it cross the Y. So if you watch those notes, and I have a video for you in the weekly folder of how to find them, you plug in a 0 for X to find the Y-intercept. You plug a 0 in for Y to find the X-intercept. So in this problem, if I did the first thing and I put a 0 in for X, that would eliminate that part because 4 times 0 would be 0. I'd be left with just this. And then when I divide that by -3, my Y-intercept would be at -2. Then when I go to do the same work for my Y-intercept, I would be putting in a 0 for Y, so -3 times 0 would go away. I'd have 4x equals 6, dividing by 4, and then it says right here to simplify when necessary. So that means to reduce. So I would have 3 halves, or you might call it 1.5. So my X and Y intercepts are 0, -2, and 3 halves 0. So let's say that I was down here on number 6. Make my little table, put a 0 here and here. To do my X-intercept, I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 in for X, leaving me with -7y equals -28. So I divide out the -7 and y is 4. Then to find the other one, I'm going to go ahead and put the 0 in for y, because you can see this 0 is in the y column. So that would eliminate the y part of my equation if I put a 0 in there. So I would end up with x equals -28, and I actually don't have any work to do then. So my 2 intercepts would be at 0, 4, that's where it would cross the y, and then -28, 0, that's where it would cross the x. So I'm going to do one more. I'm going to go ahead, don't do this one, that one looks confusing. I'm going to go ahead and do this one because it also looks a little tricky. So I'm going to set up my table. I'm going to put a 0 in for the x, meaning 3 times nothing will be nothing. I'll be left with this, but when you divide by -4, you get a 0. And then when you go back, and you're going to put a 0 in for y, because we're doing this right now, that will eliminate that part. And I'll have that 3x equals 0. But when you divide that by 3, you also get 0. So it just ends up being that both of the x and the y-intercept are at the origin. So it would, when you draw that line, it would cross through the origin. Okay, so then I would stop the video again and I would work on this for the day, kind of identifying the intercepts. All right, in this worksheet, you guys, you are using the slope formula, practicing using that to find the slope from one point to another. So here is our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If it helps you, go ahead and label these. x1, y1, and then x2, y2. Those are just the names for the first and second point. So then when I go to do my slope, I'm taking my second y minus my first y. So it gets tricky because of the minuses. And then I take my second x minus the first x. So you can use your calculator. This will turn into 1 over -26. And that is my slope. I just leave it as a reduced fraction. So that's all this page is asking you to do. So again, I've posted a video in this week's in this week's folder that will remind you how to do this if you have forgotten. So you can watch that Finding Slope Using 2 Points video as well. Hope that helps.